Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for August 16th, 2014. It is currently 10 a.m. and we have a very cool, comfortable, tranquil weather pattern in place throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. So cool that this morning, as I warned, temperatures fell into the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, especially locations around, let's say, northern New York, not northern New York, but the Hudson River Valley, northeastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey. But we are starting to rebound now with that August sun rising up into the sky with some sky cloud cover here and there. Temperatures right now range from the upper 50s to lower 60s over the northern interior, lower to mid 60s in your western suburbs of New York and Philadelphia. And within New York City and Philadelphia and along the coast, temperatures generally range from the upper 60s to lower 70s. Today's going to be a very comfortable and tranquil day with high pressure in control. However, showers and thunderstorms are going to be a threat for tomorrow. Not a washout, but a bit of a nuisance, especially in the early afternoon hours. So let's take a look at the latest surface map. Now, here we have, for the most part, a cold front that is approaching portions of eastern Canada. This cold front will move through tomorrow with a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, but again, not a washout. But this cold front is going to set the stage for what will be a very interesting week on the way, because you may have heard the idea of a heat wave for the eastern United States, for even our neck of the woods. And I was vehemently against it, still am, and it looks like the models are trending away from that solution. And there's a very easy reason why. I'm going to show you on the water vapor in just a moment why that idea is going to fail epically. This high pressure system will play a major role in the upcoming weather pattern for this upcoming week, and so will these disturbances, so keep an eye on that. So let's take a look at the latest radar, and you can see really not much really going on. We do have some disturbances passing well to our north, even to the north of the Mohawk River Valley, and will not have an influence on our weather pattern whatsoever, at least for today. However, going forward, this cold front will be dropping south and will be producing scattered showers and thunderstorms for tomorrow. Again, not a washout here in any way, shape, or form. Look between 11 a.m. to about 4 p.m. for potential for scattered showers and thunderstorms. By tomorrow evening, skies will clear, humidity will fall. We're talking about dew points falling into the lower to mid 50s and temperatures falling into the 70s and 60s. So tomorrow evening is actually going to be very pleasant, but the early afternoon a little bit unsettled. And then we have these disturbances here that are starting to line up and develop over the plains and also over the Mississippi River Valley. These disturbances will interact with this cold front and that high pressure to the north. So what's causing all of this? Well, let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture, because I'm sure you notice these disturbances out here as well. We're zoomed out for North America. See this right here? This is an upper level low. This upper level low is slowly drifting towards the Canadian Maritimes, and that's going to lead to what's called a negative NAO block. Now, a negative NAO block basically means you have an upper level low right around the Canadian Maritimes, perhaps 50 north, 50 west. And then you have high pressure taking hold over portions of New England and the Canadian Maritimes. Now, in the meantime, you could still get a ridge building over the southeast, but that ridge has to get suppressed. And with it, so will the hot temperatures. So you have a tropical air mass, which you would expect over the southeast during the summer. But with this high latitude block setting up, which is as plain to see, you don't need models to see this. This is just locking in here and establishing itself over the northwestern Atlantic. And then you have another trough around the Aleutian Islands here starting to develop. It all points to a weather pattern that is unsettled, that is volatile, but it is not hot in any way, shape, or form. Basically, what you have is a marine air mass taking hold over much of the northern mid-Atlantic as a result of this block that is setting up. And in the meantime, you have disturbances from the subtropical jet stream, which has a nice connection right here, trying to move over that marine air mass, and that leads to overcast skies, a threat for showers constantly, and also temperatures averaging near to below normal. And you don't need you don't need 10 miles to see this. all you need to do is understand the pattern and to understand what the observational data is showing you and what it should translate down the road. And then you use models to kind of iron out the details. And if the models don't match up with the current observations and what should evolve, then you have to question those models, which is exactly what we've been doing. So let's take a look at the latest European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website. And the European model guidance was the first, by the way, to catch on to what's going on right now in the atmosphere and veer away from that hot and humid forecast that some were suggesting for next week. So here again, for today, we have those scattered showers and thunderstorms holding off until tomorrow. So for today, look for high temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s. By tomorrow, that upper level low is starting to shift towards the Canadian Maritimes. That cold front swings through the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area with scattered showers and a few thunderstorms in the afternoon. Look for low temperatures in the lower to mid 60s ahead of the cold front. And then as that cold front's moving through, high temperatures in the lower to mid 80s. Now, if the cold front moves a little bit earlier, you may be stuck at around 80 degrees. So we're going to have to watch the timing of this cold front for a little bit. But for the most part, we're averaging near normal. That's what we should be. 66.83, 66.85. That's where we should be for this time of year. So this warm up is basically back to normal. Not exactly the worst thing in the world. By the time we get to Monday, high pressure will be in control briefly. Notice where this high pressure system is located and look at our upper level low, setting up around the Canadian Maritimes. So Monday is a rather nice day. Low temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. High temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s right along the coast. Lower to mid 80s everywhere else. Now take a look at Tuesday. Our upper level low set up around the Canadian Maritimes. We have a weak block setting up here. We have disturbances coming in from the Pacific. So here's our area low pressure. Right down here, right around the Canadian Maritimes. Should I say right around the Delmarva Peninsula, the coastal waters of the Mid-Atlantic. See this dry signature right here? Let's zoom in on this. Right here. This is textbook model solution for a high pressure system locked in right around the Canadian Maritimes. And what it's saying here is that you have convergence and confluence aloft, sinking air at the upper levels at 700 millibars to 500 millibars. So you have a high pressure system here developing. Meanwhile, the lower levels from 850 millibars on down, you have very moist air building in from basically the New York City metro on south. So what this model is showing, if you extrapolate and understand the way that the weather works, that you have a high pressure system around the Canadian Maritimes funneling in marine air mass into the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, which is cool yet moist, and you have an area low pressure or a boundary, a cold front boundary, stationary boundary, right around Delaware, well, let's say the coastal waters of New York City and Philadelphia, down through Delaware, through Virginia, and through the Ohio River Valley, right about here. And so you have little waves of low pressure, nothing strong, but just little waves of low pressure developing along that boundary. With an east to northeasterly wind, it leads to overcast skies and a threat of showers through the entire forecast period. From Tuesday through Friday, look for broken to overcast cloud cover, a threat for scattered showers, periods of showers with some heavy downpours at times throughout that entire forecast period. Temperatures generally ranging from the lower to mid 60s for lows, because remember, we have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, so you're not going to be able to cool down the atmosphere to the 40s and 50s like we've been dealing with because we have more humidity in the atmosphere, so look for lower to mid 60s. And high temperatures generally in the upper 70s to lower 80s. Now, if you get an afternoon where you get a nice little period of rain, most likely you'll be stuck in the mid to upper 70s, pretty close to that dew point temperature. So again, we're not looking at a hot air mass in any way, shape, or form. We're not looking at a cool, dry one either. It's a volatile, unsettled, cool, moist air mass laid in throughout the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area coming up for this upcoming week. And looking beyond that, let's just pull up the 7 to 10 day forecast, Notice we generally go back to a trough in the east, locking in. A nice ridge building over the Gulf of Alaska, a trough around the Aleutians, and kind of a broad trough over much of North America as a result. Basically, status quo. We're not changing the pattern. Look, I'm just going to say this real bluntly for everyone out there to understand, and I hope everyone heeds my warning. You cannot have a pattern change without changing the fundamental drivers in the weather pattern. And if you think that a pattern change is happening, and we've seen this illustration or this advertisement of a heat wave on various weather sources on the internet, all you have to ask yourself, what's changing from where we are now? What drivers? Is the North Pacific changing? No. Stratosphere changing? No. Is the state of the El Nino Southern Oscillation changing? No. So then what's changing? Nothing. The only thing we have here is a simple relaxation of the 500 millibar pattern, which is normal, and then re-amplification once again, which is a normal process in the atmosphere. And that's why when you start having people running around screaming, it's going to get warm, the pattern's going to switch, so on and so forth, sometimes you have to sit back and scratch your head and just ask yourself, well, what's changing? And the answer is nothing. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and LinkedIn. As always, have a wonderful day and stay safe out there.